Imagine a time when the United States was not so united. A time of conflict, a time of division, a time of war. This was the reality of the Civil War, a bitter struggle that tore the fabric of a young nation, pitting brother against brother, ideology against ideology. It was a moment when the very ideals of freedom, justice, and human dignity were tested, and the United States found itself at a crossroads. The Civil War was not just a clash of armies, but a clash of ideas, of values, of visions for the future. It was a time of great human cost, as the nation grappled with the question of slavery and the balance of power between the states and the federal government. It was a time that forever changed the face of America, leaving an indelible mark on its history. In the next few minutes, we'll journey back to this tumultuous time to understand the causes, the key moments, the lives lived, and the lasting impact of this war. What exactly led to this great divide? Slavery, states' rights, and economic differences played significant roles. Let's delve deeper into the causes of the Civil War, a conflict that fractured the United States into North and South. The epicenter of this conflict was the contentious issue of slavery. The southern states, with their agrarian economy, relied heavily on enslaved labor for the cultivation of cash crops, primarily cotton. On the other hand, northern states were largely industrial, with a growing sentiment against the institution of slavery. The abolitionist movement was gaining momentum, leading to a clash of ideologies. This conflict over slavery was closely intertwined with the issue of states' rights. The southern states championed the doctrine of states' rights, arguing for the autonomy to make their own decisions about slavery without federal interference. They believed in the sovereignty of each state, and feared that the federal government was becoming too powerful. The North, however, saw the preservation of the Union as paramount, arguing that the federal government had the authority to regulate slavery to prevent its expansion into new territories. This tension between federal power and states' autonomy added fuel to the growing fire. Now let's talk about the economic differences that further widened the chasm between the North and South. The North, with its bustling factories and growing cities, was the hub of American industry. In contrast, the South's economy was largely agricultural, reliant on the labor-intensive cultivation of cotton, tobacco, and rice. These contrasting economic structures led to divergent interests. The North favored policies that promoted industrial growth, such as high tariffs on imported goods. The South, however, viewed these tariffs as detrimental to their economy, which relied heavily on trade with foreign nations. These were the sparks that ignited the fuse of war, a war that would forever change the face of the nation. The ideological, political, and economic divide between the North and South set the stage for the American Civil War, a conflict that would test the resilience and unity of the young nation. The Civil War was marked by key battles that shaped the course of the conflict. These contests of strength and strategy not only brought about significant losses and gains, but they also played a pivotal role in determining the outcome of the war. The first shots of the Civil War rang out at Fort Sumter in South Carolina. The Confederate bombardment of this Union stronghold in April of 1861 marked the official start of hostilities, setting the stage for the bloody conflict that was to follow. Fast forward to September of 1862, and we find ourselves at Antietam, in Maryland. Known as the bloodiest single-day battle in American history, Antietam witnessed an astounding 23,000 casualties. This Union victory provided President Abraham Lincoln the opportunity to issue the Emancipation Proclamation, a crucial turning point that redefined the purpose of the war. Then, there was the Battle of Gettysburg in July 1863. Lasting for 3 grueling days, Gettysburg resulted in a decisive Union victory that halted the Confederacy's most ambitious invasion of the North. This battle is often described as the war's turning point, shifting momentum towards the Union and setting the stage for the eventual Confederate surrender. Each of these battles, along with countless others, told a story of bravery, sacrifice, and strategic ingenuity. They were moments where the course of the war could have swung in either direction, where the future of the United States hung in the balance. These battles, these moments of conflict and courage, turned the tide of the war and shaped the fate of a nation. They were more than just military engagements. They were pivotal moments in history that helped forge the United States as we know it today. And as we delve deeper into the Civil War, we'll discover how these battles and turning points influenced the lives of those who lived through this tumultuous time. But what about the people? What was life like during the Civil War? Let's step back from the battlefields and political debates to focus on the everyday realities for soldiers and civilians alike. Imagine yourself as a soldier. You're far from your home, your family, and the comforts you've always known. The food is often scarce and of poor quality. Hardtack and salt pork are staples. Medical care is rudimentary at best, with diseases like dysentery, typhoid, and pneumonia claiming more lives than bullets. Letters from home are a lifeline, a connection to a world that seems increasingly distant and foreign. On the battlefield, fear and courage exist side by side. With each battle, you see friends fall and you wonder if you'll be next. Yet there's camaraderie too. Shared hardships forge bonds stronger than iron, turning strangers into brothers. There's a sense of purpose, a belief that your sacrifice, whether for the Union or Confederacy, will shape the nation's future. Now picture yourself as a civilian. The war has turned your world upside down. If you're in the South, your economy is in shambles. Blockades have choked off imports, making even basic goods scarce and expensive. In the North, factories are booming, but inflation is skyrocketing. For women, the war brings new roles and responsibilities. With men away fighting, they become the heads of households, managing farms and businesses. Many also serve as nurses, experiencing the horrors of war firsthand as they care for the wounded. Children too are not spared. Their fathers, brothers, even schoolmates are off to war, their absence a constant reminder of the conflict. Playtime is often replaced by work time as they take on adult responsibilities. In the midst of war, life went on. The human spirit persevered, even in the darkest of times. So, as we delve deeper into the Civil War's impact, remember these personal stories, these glimpses into the human side of war. They remind us that behind every historical event, there are people, individuals just like us, who loved, feared, hoped, and dreamt in the shadow of a nation divided. The Civil War ended, but its echoes can still be heard today. The war's aftermath brought about a monumental shift in the American society, a transformation that continues to influence the nation in profound ways. In the immediate aftermath, the nation grappled with the concept of emancipation. The 13th Amendment abolished slavery, marking an enormous leap towards equality. However, the transition was far from smooth. Freed slaves were met with hostility, discrimination, and violence as they struggled to claim their rights and redefine their identities in an era of newfound freedom. Simultaneously, the nation was thrown into the era of Reconstruction. This was a period of rebuilding, not just in terms of infrastructure and economies devastated by the war, but also in terms of the nation's core values and principles. The Reconstruction sought to mend the ideological divide that had torn the nation apart, a task that proved to be as challenging as the war itself. But the Civil War's impact didn't end with the Reconstruction. Its legacy continues to shape modern America, woven into the fabric of society, culture, and politics. It birthed a new sense of national identity, one that was no longer defined by a geographical divide but by shared experiences of struggle and triumph. The war also sparked a quest for civil rights that continues to this day, a testament to the enduring spirit of equality that was kindled during the conflict. Yet the war also left deep scars, reminders of a time when the nation was at odds with itself. These scars serve as a reminder of the lessons learned from the war, guiding the nation's steps as it navigates contemporary challenges. The Civil War was more than just a historical event, it was a turning point. It redefined the nation's identity, reshaped its social and political landscapes, and set it on a path towards a future that was radically different from its past. The Civil War shaped the United States as we know it today. Its lessons, its scars, its victories and losses, are all part of the fabric of our nation. The Civil War was more than just a chapter in a history book. It was a defining moment in the American story. This brutal conflict, born from deep ideological divides, reshaped the very fabric of our nation. It was a crucible in which the United States as we know it was forged, a tumultuous period that irrevocably changed the course of our nation's history. Understanding the Civil War allows us to comprehend the complexities of our present and anticipate the challenges of our future. It teaches us that our nation, while united under one flag, is a tapestry of differing beliefs and values. It's a testament to the resilience of the American spirit and a reminder that our capacity for change is what truly defines us. As we remember the Civil War, we appreciate the resilience and capacity for change within the American nation. We are reminded that we are a nation born out of conflict, but defined by our ability to overcome it.